my daughter, her best friend, her mom, we were hanging out, we were having wine, we were talking, and she says, you know who Johnny Depp is? And I was like, well, duh, yes, my next husband, obviously. And she was like, well, he's making a movie in North Vancouver, and he's doing it in the house that is my mother's-in-law's neighbor's house. And through the week, she's been seeing him sometimes. Like he comes and he even waves to her. And I was like, what? Like, I tell her. And I was kind of joking, but not. So I was like, just tell her to invite us. We will be fun. We will drink wine. I'll make her laugh. I promise. We're going to have a great time. I just want to see him. You know, like how cool to see Johnny Depp.
Welcome to Canada with an Accent, the podcast by Comedy with an Accent, where we celebrate accents from all around the world.
Welcome everyone to Canada with an Accent, the podcast by Comedy with an Accent with Maria Haslbeck,
Daria Dolan.
And today we have an amazing guest. She's originally from Mexico. That's why her name is Maria as well. Maria Haslbeck!
Thank you for having me. Hello, everybody. How are you? Yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you for inviting me. Honestly, this is like my first podcast in English that I've been invited. So yeah, this is really exciting.
We're giving opportunities to people, Maria.
Yeah.
We're giving opportunities to people.
Yeah.
And she's amazing.
Thank
She
you.
started comedy this year as well.
Yes.
She's starting to do a stand-up.
I know.
This year.
Just this year.
This year, and she has done shows in Spanish and English.
I know.
So,
It's been really, really exciting. I just started on May 10th. That was my first show with Recento Idioma. And it was for Mother's Day, and it was really fun. And now I'm hooked. And then now they can't get rid of me. I'm here to
And
stay.
I've seen you on stage, and you're
thank
doing
you.
pretty amazing.
It's really fun. It is really fun to make people laugh and just to have a good time and just to, you know, hook everybody up so they're like ready for the comedians. I think that's it's super, super fun. So yeah.
And you have the personality for it. You're like super
Yeah.
bubbly, and you look
party.
gorgeous.
She
she
loves
loves
to party.
stalking.
Yeah, I don't shut up. I talk all the time.
Girl, same.
Yeah. That's why we're here and we have a podcast.
That's why we're in a
Exactly.
podcast. No, and everybody loves her.
Thank you.
If she's in a show, I don't know how she does it, but she brings like 30, 40 people.
Oh, well.
to see her.
Because I post everybody.
love
I'm like,
that.
let's go. And I honestly think that, and you said it when you were talking about comedy in that interview that you have, and you have like in the what is it? Like this, I completely forgot. I'm thinking in Spanish and not in English.
Say it in Spanish.
When you were in the revista, when you were in the
Magazine?
magazine, in the thing that they posted about you. Anyways, they were talking about Maria and what she thinks about comedy and what it is for her. And it's like therapy, right? I grew up thinking, and honestly, my dad, every time that we had drama or something, a joke will come with it. So it will make it not as bad as it was because we were laughing. So I think that these comedy shows just are like just bridges of connection with people that are living from not living, a lot of them living in their country, and connecting with their accents and with the laughter and with people from their own countries or communities is so much fun. So yeah, I'm super happy.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Also, you do a lot of hosting for events.
Yes.
Not just comedy. But
I just started that too. I
that
was
too.
terrified to speak in public.
no.
I swear to God.
No.
I swear. I have trauma, like all of us do. And just being in front of a lot of people and talk and being seen for a lot of people at the same time, it was just really, really scary. But I am a life coach as well. And one of the projects that came to my head when I graduated from my certificate was that I want to do a stand-up coaching. And it's just literally talking about and sharing and learning together, but laughing at the same time. Doesn't have to be serious. Life is just a
We're all
joke.
gonna die.
Exactly. It's just we're here to play, right? We take life too serious. And that's what I wanted to do. But before I started that, I needed to know how to speak in public and how to manage public. And, I didn't know how to do that. And one day I decided to host an event for Successful Women Canada. That is an incredible association, commercial. And
Actually, you can vote for her.
you can vote for me because we're
nominated.
nominated. So they had like this amazing award ceremony that they do every year. And it's when they celebrate and they talk about these amazing Latin American women that are doing amazing here in Vancouver with their businesses. They're entrepreneurs. They're doing crazy things, not just for their businesses, but for the community. So I love the project, and I tried. I was like, hey, can I do the hosting?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even ask me, have you have any? They were like, yeah, sure, go for it. And I was like, oh my God, now what I'm going to do?
Shit.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And I started just practicing. I started watching like millions and millions of videos of hosting events and how to do it and how to manage, and TikTok. Thank you, TikTok. Like there was so many things that helped. And then almost a year ago, it was when the event was November 21st. And I was terrified because I haven't been in a stage with a microphone in front of anybody. And I thought, well, the first event that I went with them, it was like 100 people. I was like, and they're all Mexicans, and they speak in Spanish, or they're from Latin America. It's gonna be fine. Mm-hmm. And then I went to the place where the event was, and I was like, oh, this is really fancy. And there's a big stage, and there's a lot of people, and it was so nerve-wracking. Yeah. I was like, oh. But then in the moment that I grabbed that mic and I started speaking, it was so magical. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm hooked. I want to do this again and again. So that's why I started doing like hosting and comedy, because I wanted to learn how to do these things that I want to utilize with my coaching. Yeah. So that's how everything started.
And you started hosting comedy shows as well, but now you are starting to do comedy as well.
But you know what? I was just talking to Pablo, hi Pablo, about this. And I think that a lot of people can do their routines over and over, and then they know how to like mix it up. And a lot of people know how to do routine. I love to improvise. Like you give me a little bit of something and I make something with it. Yeah. But routines, I get so nervous, and I'm starting, so I have to be patient with myself.
Exactly.
Yeah, it will come. Mm-hmm. But it is like I memorize it, right? So with a routine, I jump into the thing and I'm going like, hi, I'm Maria. And I start just reading what it's in my mind instead of living it and feeling it. But I guess that comes with practice. So eventually I guess that I will do it. But as it is right now, I'm just hosting, and it's so much fun. Like, I love it.
But so you said that you've been doing comedy for a year only.
Less than a year.
No, less than
maybe for a year, and then
hosting events for a year now, and comedy May 10th was the first time that
So what were you doing before, and how did you get into this?
So when I did my certificate, my life coach, I'm a life coach, mm-hmm. and I don't know, I didn't want to be just the life coach that sits down and talk. Like I wanted something different and something more. Yeah. And I always love to make people laugh. Like I am a really expressive person, mm-hmm. and people always like get a hackle from things that I do. See,
there we go.
And I was like, I just want that. You know, I want people to come somewhere and learn something about themselves and connect with themselves and feel better about themselves, realize the power that they have, and have fun and laugh and nothing serious, just enjoying it. But obviously that comes with a lot of preparation. You have to go to school to learn how to do like talking with people. A lot of people do. I was like, I don't know how to. Well, I'm just going to try. So that was my first step, starting to speak in public. And then I wanted to add a little bit of comedy in the event from last year. And one day I was like, who am I going to talk to? Like, I don't know any comedians. I literally didn't know anyone. Yeah. And I remember that I was just scrolling on Instagram, and it's crazy how life just brings you things that you need, right?
Yeah.
And I saw this Instagram post, and it was like Pablo Zacarias and a little bit of his sketch. And I was like, oh my God, he's so funny. And it was like presenting in North Vancouver. And I was like, and he's Mexican. In Vancouver, I never heard like any comedy in Spanish.
Pablo's not paying enough publicity.
He wasn't. Now he is. Good job. Good job.
Good job, Pablo.
But he like, and I'm a mom of 3, right? I have 3 girls. So it wasn't that I was looking to go out to watch comedy. I was trying to survive with 3 kids. But then after my training and looking for coaching for comedians, Pablo came to the screen, and it was in North Vancouver. I live in North Vancouver. I was like, so you're telling me that I have to drive 5 minutes to watch comedy in Spanish? I was like, that's perfect. And then I was like, yeah. And then I was like, you know what? Ask. So I sent a message to Pablo through Instagram, and I was like, hey, I'm going to go and watch your show, but I want to ask you some questions because I have an event coming and I want to pick your brain. And he was like, sure.
Yeah.
That was really easy.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the show and I watched him and I saw Elvia too. Elvia was presenting. And I was just sitting there in awe of watching these comedians from other country speaking my language in North Vancouver, Canada. I was like, what is this? These people are amazing. I was so excited. And then the show ended and I talked to Pablo a little bit, but he was busy and signing, he's famous. And
Oh, now she's very famous, the
Yeah.
bodyguard.
Yeah.
She's like, no, enough, leave him alone, everyone. It's like,
no,
oh my
no
fans.
talking, no pictures. He was busy. But then I had 2 seconds to talk to Elvia. And Elvia. Like, she's an open book and she's so funny. And I was like, how long have you been doing this? And she's like, I've been doing this for like so little.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I was like, wow, these women. But Pablo gave me an opportunity and it was so much fun. And I was like, hey, so I'm doing this show and I want to bring some comedy. And she says something really important. And she said, be yourself. That's it. Just have fun and be yourself. I was like, that's true. I'm just going to be the person that I am. There's a reason why they asked me to do it. And they gave me the opportunity to do it. So I went back and I did the show and it was great. Time passed. I think it was like a few months. And I have a podcast as well that is called Chilanga in Vancouver. Chilanga is how we call the
people from Mexico City.
Nice.
So I had the podcast for 4 years. And what I do is I interview people that I think that have really good stories that I want them to share with the world. And they're not scared or shy to do it, right? So I invited Elvia and we have a great conversation. And I was like, these women. And and when the more that you hang out with somebody or you follow somebody, more reels, more things about Elvia were coming over. And then she invited me to a show at Calabash Bistro. And I went and I was like, look at these people. They're doing why did they know this? And there was a seed that was planted in my insides in one of those moments when I went to watch Pablo, I don't know when. But then I was sitting one day in my living room in Instagram. Clearly, I have nothing to do but just Instagram.
You don't have your kids.
I needed to block my life, I was like, Instagram. And there was a same like commercial, like, if you want to come to Comedy with an Accent, my name, it was like this little commercial. And I was like, Comedy with an Accent, that too. But no, it was like, listen to you. But anyways, I was like, what if I just hosted a few events? I was like, what if I just host how hard could it be? It's okay. So I just, without even thinking, I sent a message to Elvia and I was like, hey, if one day you want somebody that is going to pump you guys up and it's going to have so much fun, it's just going to bring a lot of like Mexicanity to your shows, let me know. And she was like, oh yeah, we'll talk to Pablo. And I was like, okay. You know how you expect like months and years to pass before they give you an answer?
Yeah.
And I think it was 20 minutes. And she's like, oh yeah, would you like to host? And it was Pablo. Hey, I heard that Elvia told me you want to host the Mother's Day show. Yeah. And the same thing that I did with the other show. Totally. Yes, of course. I'm perfect. And then I just like closed my phone. I was like, what I'm gonna do. And I did the same thing. I just went and read and wrote and watch hosts from comedy and comedians. And then I started learning how many Latin comedians are in the world. The more that you look, the more that you start like scratching. I mean, Mexico is known for comedy. How many comedians we have? Like I grew up watching comedy all the time.
Yeah, of course.
But it's crazy because your world is like this small. And then you come to another country and you learn about all these other Latin communities. And I knew the countries. I know about all these places that I live under Mexico City, under Mexico. But I never met so many people from other parts of the world until I moved to Canada. Yeah. And this multiculturalism and learning from others and their jokes and this is so magical, right? It's so great. So now I'm just so excited to meet all these people that are having just fun and they want to make other people laugh.
So how do you prepare? Like you were saying that you just show up there and you just be yourself, but is there a little bit of preparation to your
write
sets?
a lot. Like I write every day.
You write, okay.
I write a lot. And I think that life is just a joke all the time, like actually. And things that happen to us, you're like, that's not... No, that didn't happen. That's not your name. You know when you know people and they tell you their names and you're like,
That's a weird name, isn't
Are you
it?
sure? Like my ex-boyfriend, his name was Junior Francisco Javier Romero Bernal.
No, Junior.
Junior, and it was like Junior. It wasn't
That's just his
J.R. It was
first name?
Junior, like full on. That was
Okay.
her surname.
Wasn't that a red flag?
No.
was
That's
an
his name.
ex-boyfriend
Yeah,
now.
so an ex-boyfriend. I'll tell you that story in a sec. Because it's a good one. It's a good one. No, when he told me his name, I was like, yeah, right. And he was like, what? And I was like, give me your ID. I don't believe that your name is that. Like, no.
It's Junior.
And I was like, that sounds like a joke, right? Like, it's such a long name. Like, you're making this up. But that's life. And I realized that a lot of the things that happen to me, a lot of people don't live them or they've never gone through that, obviously. And when I tell them, they think it's a joke. So I was like, huh. So I write a lot about my life, my kids, my husband. And it's a lot of experience. I've been married for 14 years. So
Congratulations.
thank you. And it's been a lot, right? Like growing up with another person from another country, it's really difficult. And have 3 kids is...
She has very cool stories. Like,
Yeah.
literally, we could do a 3-hour podcast or more with her.
Like, yeah, it's a long... I have a lot. So what I do is I put a lot of those stories and I write them down that I think that they were funny for me or that I would talk to my friends or to my family and I tell them and they go like, no.
I want to talk about one. I want
Tell
you
me.
to tell this story.
Which
She
one?
met Johnny Depp.
You met Johnny Depp?
Johnny Depp.
I met
Very
Johnny
Mexican. We can call him Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Johnny
Yeah.
Depp. Anyways, she
Yeah.
met Johnny
Parents-
Depp, but the story
Yeah.
is amazing. And I was like,
It's
is
not
that
true.
true?
Yeah, it
Did
sounds
you
fake.
Show me the picture.
So,
It sounds
wanna-
so fake.
you wanna know.
And it's real.
And I will show you pictures. There's videos.
And we can put it in here.
And I will put it so you guys can actually believe what happened. So, my daughter, her best friend, her mom, we were hanging out, we were having wine, we were talking, and she says, you know who Johnny Depp is? And I was like, well, duh, yes. My next husband, obviously. And she was like, well, he's making a movie in North Vancouver. And he's doing it in the house that is my mother's-in-law's neighbor's house. And through the week, she's been seeing him sometimes. Like he comes and he even waves to her. And I was like, what? Like, I tell her. And I was kind of joking, but not. So I was like, just tell her to invite us. We will be fun. We will drink wine. I'll make her laugh. I promise. We're going to have a great time. I just want to see him. You know, like how cool to see Johnny Depp from like, and she had a rooftop patio. So you could see exactly where he was coming in and out. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to tell her cousins. I'm the only Mexican that knows that. Anyways, for my family. So I was super excited. And then it was on Monday. And Friday night, my kids are in bed. They were still little. My kids are in bed. My husband is making popcorn. We're about to watch a movie. And my friend calls and he's like, what you doing? It's like, no, my husband. It's like, Johnny is going to come tonight to do some shots or whatever. Do you want to come and hang out to my mother-in-law's house? And I was like,
yeah, right.
And I look at my husband and I look at my phone and I was like, I'll be there in 10. So I just, I was like, husband, sorry, I'm going to go to see Johnny Depp. I was like,
My new
what?
husband.
And he was like, what? And I was like, yep, I'll be back in a little bit. He's like, where are you? Whatever. I mean, he knows me now. By now he was like, this woman is crazy. Go, whatever. You Mexican. So I get there and there's security. Like, it's not that you could just go in there, right? They ask me where I'm going. So I'm telling them the house. So I go in there. We go into the rooftop and we're hanging out. You get nervous, right? It's like you're going to meet somebody, but you're not going to meet. You're just going to see him. But it's Johnny Depp. So we're upstairs and we're drinking and we're like laughing and I'm saying like stupid things like I'm gonna throw him my bra, you know, like Daddy, I'm gonna show him his like something. I have to make him remember me, you know, and then everything starts like the atmosphere changes. Like you can see that everybody started like talking in the walkie-talkies and people start moving and security starts like moving things and I'm like. And she goes, like, the mother-in-law, she's Patsy, her name. Hi, Patsy. And Patsy goes, here comes Johnny. Like, this is what happens, right?
Johnny.
And we're like, here comes Johnny. We're so excited. Sure enough, a black truck or van stops in the back alley of the house. Obviously, not the front, in the back alley. And he comes out of the car. And I'm like, ah! So we're all laughing. Exactly. Like we're just making like, oh, Maria. And we're drinking wine. And obviously he heard us. So he looks up and he goes, hi, ladies. And I pee my, I was like, hi, Johnny! Like, and then,
Hi, Mr. Depp.
right? And I was like, hi. He's like, what are you guys drinking? And we go, wine. And obviously my mom told me to always offer, right? And I was like, obviously. And I was like, would you like some? And he's like, sorry, no, I don't drink wine. Maybe next time. And we're like, okay, bye. They're like, you can talk to us. And I was like, no, I need more. I need more. This is a huge
The story
opportunity.
does not end.
No, it gets better.
No.
It gets better.
And I go like, this is an opportunity. And I go like, can I walk into the back alley? And she goes, what? Can I go into your backyard and go walk to the back alley? And she's like, sure. What? So I'm like, this is the moment. And I cannot wait. So I get out of the house. I go into the back alley, but there's like, bushes. So I like go through the bushes and I look in the back alley and I'm like this. I'm like, who's there? Who's there? And then at the back, I see like this bald, super tall guy. And I go, psst, psst. Hold on. I'm like, sir. And he's like, what the hell? And I'm like in the bushes. So he obviously came over like, what's wrong with this lady? I'm like, hi. He's like, can I help you? And I was like, yeah. Do you know Johnny Depp? Like, those were my words. And he goes, what? It's like, do you know Johnny Depp? Do you know the actor, Johnny Depp? And he starts laughing. He's like, yeah, I'm his bodyguard. And I was like, I wanted to talk to you. You are the person that I was looking. And he's like, what? Why? And I was like, well, Johnny said that he doesn't drink wine. What's he drinks? What would he like to drink? And he's like, what? It's like, yeah.
Go home, lady.
Right? Like, go to your kids. Like, what are you doing?
Get a life.
I was like, he said that he doesn't drink wine, but
what does he drink?
What would he like to drink? And he looks at me again like, oh, you're serious? I was like, yeah. I'm inside a bush.
Yeah.
You're just looking and you're stuck into my head between the bush. But yes, I'm a person. Okay. So he's like, okay, I don't know. Give me a minute. So he goes inside and he asks Johnny Depp. I don't know. I just imagine like, listen, there's this creepy lady in the bushes asking you if you want to drink.
She's pretty innocent though.
Yeah,
so what do you drink?
She looks desperate, man. She's from Mexico. She had an accent. So something is wrong with this lady. We should help her. But she offered you a drink. And he comes back and he's like, he's so excited. He has never been offered a drink. And he said yes. But you have to wait until he's done shooting.
Yeah.
It might take a few hours. Are you okay with that? I was like,
yeah.
I'll wait my whole life to be part of this. I will wait. My husband, my kids, they can wait. And I was like, okay, perfect. What if he drinks? And he's like, Moscow Mules. And I was like, what? I didn't know what that was. And I was like, what? And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. A Moscow Mule.
Copy that.
Yeah, perfect.
I'll do it.
I get out of he's like, okay, I will let you know when it's time. I will send, I call it the Johnny's signal, because he said, I will flash you up into the rooftop. Are you guys going to be there? And I was like, yeah. And I'll let you know when to come down, when he's ready to drink your drink. And I was like, okay. So I come back, get off of the bush, go inside the house, and I was like, we are going to make drinks for Johnny Depp. And everybody in the house, because it was mother-in-law, my friend, and I, right? So we're like, and what does he drink? And we're like, Moscow Mules. And they're like, what? With my Mexican, I never heard about Moscow Mules before. And then she was like, I don't know, Moscow. And she's like, oh, Moscow Mules. And I was like, yeah, whatever, that. Can we make them? And the lady of the house goes, I have the special cups and everything.
Yeah.
We just need the ingredients. I was like, to the store.
Yeah,
So
we
I
have
like
a couple of hours.
Drive to the store, bring everything back, and we're hanging out, and we're like, obviously, so excited, right? The lady from the house goes, Patsy goes, I think I have Pirates of the Caribbean in a DVD. I'm going to find it. I'm going to make him sign it. So she's like looking for the box. And I'm like, yeah, he's totally going to sign my bra. Like, I'm like making all these things, like my own, I'm looking, right? Like
Speaking
something.
of delusions, girl.
Right? Oh yeah, I'm
I
like,
think it's a Mexican thing.
yes,
Delusions.
we go places. We dream big. And then
Totally.
Patsy's sister comes in the house. She's visiting. She was visiting from the island. She's like, what's wrong with you guys? And we're like, like teenagers, right? Like, ah! It's like, what happened? We're going to meet Johnny Depp. And she's like, what? Yeah, Maria. And we told her the story. So we're like, and drinking, right? So the more time that happened and we were excited, we were drinking and drinking and drinking. So it was like 1:00 in the morning. And we're still drinking. So we're like, Johnny, we're going to love you. We're like so excited, but
now I'm
drinking.
scared.
So we see the sign and we're like, it's happening. So we go down, we make him his drink, and then we go out. And he's like, sorry, 15 more minutes. I was like, Johnny, I'm not going to give you a watered down drink. We're going to make you another one. But we drink it. We cannot waste it. So we're like still drinking. So finally, it's time to meet Johnny Depp. Everybody starts coming out of the house, like all the shooting people and the lights, and it's bright, and we're drunk. These ladies are so excited, but they're like, oh my God. We have pictures of all of us like so drunk, but so excited. And then after like 2 minutes, he come because it was like the back of the house and it was like stairs. It was like stairwell.
Yeah.
And literally it's like, you know, those shows when they, like the girl of the dreams comes into the stairs and they start coming down and the boy is like, oh. We were like that with Johnny. So it's like these 4 ladies, right? And he's coming down and we're like, and he's like, oh, as they're coming down and the lights.
As a god.
And he comes and he's like, oh my God, thank you so much. Here, Mr. Depp, your drink. Your drink. And he's like, oh my God, in my whole life, nobody have ever offered me a drink like that. Like, thank you so much. I have fans that want me to sign stuff or whatever, but I've never been offered this. Like, this is fantastic. And it was like, okay, I have Johnny Depp in front of me. I have to talk to him. I don't know what I'm going to say with my broken English, but I'm going to tell him, something. Like, I'm going to say something. So he's like, thank you, da-da. Sorry for the wait. I'm like, no, Johnny's fine. Oh my God. No, don't worry. We're friends. I'll wait for you. It's all good. We're talking. Friends. And then I was like, oh yeah, by the way, I left my husband because of you. And he's like, what? And I was like, I wanted to meet you. And, you know, I just left him because I wanted to meet you. And he's like, oh, I think it was a great idea. I was like, right? And I can tell you that there's a video about that because the ladies that speak perfectly English were like, they were just watching us talking and taking videos. That was it. And he was so great and so fantastic. He stayed with us like for 30, 45 minutes.
Oh.
He took pictures. He told us about the movie. He told us that he was going the next day to Children's Hospital. What he does every time that he comes over. He dresses up full of Jack Sparrow.
Yes.
And I was like, even more perfect. So you have a big heart. And then he was like, okay, girls, I have to go. It was like almost 2 a.m. I have to get up and get dressed for this thing. But thank you so much. And he was like, but I wanna bring my drink. Like it's really good. Like I wanna take it. And the lady's like, he's like, no, I'm not gonna take your fancy cup. I was like, just take it. Tell her to sign it something. And the lady's like, I'll give me my cup. I'm like, no. But yes, he touched that cup, right? He drank it. But I was like, but we found a cup and he took the drink and yeah. And then he just jumped in the car and drove away. And I think that now I can die because I met Johnny Depp.
He was so brave. He was accepting the drink
from a Mexican lady.
From crazy girls drunk.
Like from a lady that was in the bushes.
Be like, yeah, sure, I'll drink it.
Like, thank you. If you're watching this, Johnny, thank you for
trusting me. Johnny watched every single
video. Yeah, I know. Like, my friends. But no. But when I came back, my husband was like, how can you support somebody that abused ladies, women? I was like, he didn't. He's innocent. I believe him. That was like years before the trial. So I believe in you, Johnny. Forever. I love you.
I do too. So thanks for watching.
Thank you. But no, he was fantastic. And honestly, I would never, like, even, hey, drink this. Who does that, right? No. He was fantastic. I mean, I think that he saw that we were truly wanted to hang out with him and know him. And he saw this lady, obviously, she lived beside the house. If anything happened, they could find her. But yeah, that was my story with Johnny Depp. And a lot of people don't believe it. Like, if you think about it, you're like, yeah, well, she saw him from the rooftop, and that was it.
The only reason I think I believe you right now is because you said there's pictures.
I can show
will
you.
ask
Well, we
you
can put the
later.
pictures
Well,
here.
I'll
But
show you.
literally, yeah, the picture he's with the fancy cup and everything.
Yes,
Like-
it is. Everything is true.
I believe you.
When I was telling my father-in-law, I was like, because I think that was on a Friday, right? And then Sunday we went for dinner, and Tony was like, she met Johnny Depp, and she just met him. She had drinks
Hung
with Johnny
out.
Depp. Like she made him a drink,
Yeah.
and they were like, what?
I
No
love that
way.
the courage that you had to go. I don't think that I would have ever, like,
What's the worst
even-
thing that could have happened?
no, but I know, but listen, even when I go, like, to the gym and I have a slightly, like, a gym crush, I ignore the person. Like, that's how I flirt with you.
You see
I like
her
you.
walking like this? She likes you. Oh
my God.
And all the guys from the gym like,
Oh my god. Now everyone that
yeah, now you know. Now we know. Yeah, I want to show you. Look, that's Johnny. That's me. That's my friend, the lady from the house, Patsy, and her sister.
Nice.
Ashley.
Oh, we're gonna
Thank
have
you.
to show that.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
hilarious.
It was honestly like one of the best experiences, and I think that what would be the worst thing that could have happened,
I know, and that's it.
Yeah.
right?
That's fair.
But and I can tell the story like I tried to give a drink to Johnny, and he said no. Boo, Johnny,
And-
boo.
End of story.
Right? But it happened. And that's what I'm talking about when I write things. It's like, you wouldn't believe. And the whole story, even seeing that bald guy in the trial, I was like, I know that guy. I talked to him. You know, like I know the story. I'm part of Johnny now because I give him a drink.
The fact that the whole
Yeah.
team was really cool about it. And was like,
Everybody.
yeah, like
Everybody was
yeah, that's
fantastic.
so
Like,
nice.
To be his bodyguard
Mhm.
and to let me give him a drink, I think he
Through
saw
the
me,
bushes.
he saw me so desperate, probably. He was like, oh, this lady, this is going to be the best time of her life. And it actually was.
Yeah.
And it gave me a lot of confidence of just trying. And even if I have a broken English, I talked to Johnny Depp and he was nice and he understood what I said, at least 80% of the time. So why not to try new things and why not to talk? So those are my stories.
I was about to say, is that
I love
kind of
that.
like the mentality that you have when you approach every project now is just like,
Now I
give
do.
it a go.
And I think that now I do because not thinking about things have given me so much stuff, but a lot of trouble as well. So now when I do it, it has to be aligned with my spirit of how I want to feel, what I want to do, what I want to say. And I do it. If it feels good, I trust myself. Because there's been times in the past that I look back, I'm like, good job, Maria, from the past. You did things that maybe right now, at the time that I am, I wouldn't do, right? Like talking to Johnny Depp, I probably would be like, no,
chill out.
But in the past, I was like, well, whatever. What's the worst that could happen? So yeah.
What would be your advice for people who do want to do stand-up comedy or hosting events?
Speak in public, something
speak in
like that.
public.
Just do it.
Or
What's
speak
the
to
worst
Johnny
thing
Depp.
that could happen? The worst thing that could happen is you suck and you feel horrible. And it's going to happen. Like, there's been shows that you have in your head that people are going to be... Like, when I told the story of Johnny Depp, I said it in Spanish. And I thought, because one weekend before we were hanging out with some friends and we're in a dinner party. And I told the story and they were laughing.
We were laughing right now.
Yeah, right? It's like they were like, and then when I went to do it at the show, it was like silence. Like you could hear the,
But that show, let's admit it was silent with everyone.
yeah, it was really tricky. So
It
there's
was
times
tricky for everyone,
everyone.
not
And-
only that story.
no,
like
and it
everyone
happens.
else.
But if I give up into that and I go like, oh my God, I suck so much and that story is bad, then it's like giving up, right? An opportunity. I took it like, okay, what was it? Yeah, people were weird. Yeah, there was so many things, but
blame
with
the
you.
audience.
But I was like, okay, take responsibility. What was it? And then my friend recorded me and I watched myself and I was like, that's what it was. You were trying too much.
Oh, yeah.
You were overthinking it. You were not connecting with the people, right? You were not there. That's what normally I do when I'm a host because I don't have the pressure of like, I have to remember my routine. I just hang out and I chill and it's me. I'm this person all the time. People that at the school, at the grocery shop, like this is who I am all the time. But when I'm trying to tell the story, I get like these, I don't know, whatever. So that I take that from, okay, I'm going to learn from it. So if you want to do something like this, just do it. Like if you feel the need, come. Like honestly, reach out, reach to Maria, reach to, if you're in Spanish, reach to Pablo.
Even to you.
Even to me. Like it is a community that we want to grow and we're learning from each other. Like every show I learn from these people that are doing it. How long you been doing comedy now?
For 3 years.
3 years, right? Pablo, like,
Pablo
he's fantastic and he comes like
senior
with
in
things.
comedy.
Yeah, like I'm learning from these people. Come and learn. If you want to do anything and it's like a passion or you feel like you need to do it, learn or just go do it. And when you see that you suck, because you probably want to do it, it's the first time that you're going to do something, practice and learn. And that's
and
it.
do it again. Yeah, you may suck the first time.
And
Everybody sucks the first time.
and
Because-
probably the 25 time. And maybe
and that's
you go.
okay. You can keep trying.
Yes, and probably there is a lot of comedians that go like that. Like they have really, really high peaks and people are laughing. And then there's moments in their life, depending on what they're going through or their whatever, that it's not the same, right? Or that it gets dark and some comedy gets dark. So it's in waves, like everything in life. Sometimes it rains, sometimes the sun comes out. But it's how you take the wave and how you deal with it that makes you go through it. Because if I let the waves take me down, I wouldn't be sitting in front of you at all. Like I think about my life and how I got here. I'm like, what? It was meant to be because it was so perfect. How easy everything happened, but so crazy at the same time. It was so fast. Junior Francisco Javier Romero Bernal, my ex, the one that you guys thought there was a red flag with the name. What happened is we were in a relationship for 2 years and then he got sick and he passed away.
Oh my goodness.
I know. So
And you're making fun of the name.
yeah, obviously I love him and he loves me, whatever. Obviously, with all my respect because he knows and everybody knows how much I love him. And it's funny. His name was ridiculous. It was
And we
hilarious.
Mexicans just used to, we like to make fun of the dead.
Yes,
We
because-
did a show last week, especially roasting dead people.
Exactly.
So we do it as a way to heal ourselves.
And just to remember, I think that's the process of death, right? People don't die until you stop remembering them. Like the movie Coco that a lot of people know, it's actually like, I think that was my dad's biggest fear, being forgotten, right? He's like, I want people to remember me. And if you think about that, people that are gone, if you keep remembering, it's like they're here. Like I know it feels weird and some people don't, but I believe that when you call energy, the energy is here, right? So there's times that I feel my friends that have passed away, my ex, like I know that they're here because I remember them. But anyways, he passed away. Hi to everybody that know the story. That was there. And he passed away in April. And I traveled to a rowing race because I used to be a rower. I was part of the national team of rowing in juniors. And then I had the chance to help a group of women, masters, to go to the World Cup, the Master World Cup in Toronto. Okay. So I went to that trip because my boyfriend died and because he left me some money. So because of that money, I was able to go to that rowing race. Okay. In the way back, it was cheaper for me to go to Puerto Vallarta, stay there for a whole week, all inclusive, and then go back to Mexico City because it was a good package. Okay. And I didn't want to go back to Mexico because I was really sad and I was really depressed and I didn't want to go back to everybody looking at me like, oh, the girl that her boyfriend passed away. Yeah. No. It was sad. So I went to Puerto Vallarta and that's where I met my husband. And we met on September. We got married on November.
Oh, wow.
And I found out that I was pregnant with my first baby the day after our wedding. All that in the States because I didn't have a Oh,
you stayed?
So yeah. Oh, no. So Puerto Vallarta. Then he came back to Vancouver. I went back to Mexico City. He texted me. He messaged me on Facebook and he was like, I need to know more about you. I felt horrible when I left. I come to Vancouver. And I was like, okay. But obviously, we needed visas in that time. Yeah. Now we have visas. We need visas again. But at the time, it was at one entry or multiple entries. I had just gone to Toronto. I had a visa. But because I wasn't planning going back to Canada soon, I just paid because I was cheap. I just paid the one entry visa. Yeah. So when I wanted to come back to Vancouver, I apply again. And that's a red flag. This woman just traveled. Yeah. She just got the one entry visa for this race. And now she wants to come back again. For what?
Yeah.
She's not telling us the whole story. So they deny me the visa 3 times.
Ooh.
And the 4th, Tony, my husband, he was like, well, come to Seattle. We can do it from Seattle. Like, thinking, the embassy from Mexico doesn't speak to the embassy in Seattle. Like, they're not,
They're not friends.
He's like, we'll come together and we'll apply for the visa. And we went there. And by the end, they called me into the room and they were like, tell us what's going on. Like, you being denied in Mexico. Now you're here in Seattle applying again. Like, what's going on? And I just, like, say everything. Like, my boyfriend passed away 4 months ago. I was so sad. And I went to a rowing race and then I met this guy. And he's like, give me the and the guy was like, oh my God. He just
Let her in.
Yeah, like, holy. And he just looked at me. He was like, are you sure that you want to do this? And I was like, yeah. He said, well, if you're going to do it, you have to do it right. So he has to sponsor you. That comes with a lot of responsibility. And you have to do all the paperwork. And then you, like, I can tell you all the steps. But if you're going to do it right. I just met the guy 2 months ago. Right? I'm not going to come out like, hey, by the way, you have to be my sponsor.
Everyone in the embassy, like 2 months.
Like,
Okay.
what? Yeah, like crazy. And I came out and I explained him everything. And he was like, okay, so what are we doing? And I was like, I have to go back to Mexico. Like, this is a lot. This is a huge responsibility. Like, for you to be if this doesn't work, we have to be together, or at least you have to pay for my bills for the next 5 years.
Oof.
In another country. I'm really responsible, but that was a lot. So he was like, I like you a lot, but I don't know if that
it's
much.
a little soon. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, we bought a ticket to go back to Mexico. And I was going the next day from Seattle. He had to go back to Vancouver because he was working. So we say goodbye and we partied. And then when I'm like sitting in my computer, like, what the fuck? What am I going to say to my parents? Because my ex-boyfriend passed away, right? My parents were still grieving him. Like, he was fantastic. He was a great guy. So everybody was still sad. I told my parents I was coming to Vancouver to study. I didn't tell them that I met this guy, that he offered me, nothing. So my parents didn't know that I was coming.
And how old are you, if I may ask?
Right now,
How old were you?
I was
at that-
24.
Just
24.
Just
very
a
young.
baby.
Oh, yeah.
Just a baby.
And you think that you know everything,
Oh,
right?
God, yeah.
If you're 24 and you know nothing. It's just, oh my God, you're just growing up. So I was sitting in the hotel room, like, what I'm going to say to my parents, like, by the way, and I wasn't even in Canada. I was in the States. I was in Seattle. And I was
Hiding in the embassy.
Yeah, like crying in the embassy with a guy that I didn't know, because I hung out with that guy for a week. And I talked to him in Skype for like a lot.
Yeah.
We used to talk for 8 hours
Oh.
every day. I don't even know what we don't even talk that much anymore. It was crazy.
No,
we
you're
talked so
married
much.
now.
Exactly. But I want to say to my parents, like, I met this guy and that's why I'm in Seattle, because we applied and the dinner. Like, it was so much, but I was trying to, like, how I'm going to explain to my parents that I'm coming back home. And then I'm on Facebook and my father-in-law sent me a message and he goes, how did it go? And I was like, well, I'm going back to Mexico because, and he was like, no, give me a sec. I was like, okay. So he called Tony, my husband, and he said, if this woman leaves tomorrow, you're never seeing her again. Like, she cannot go. Because I think that he thought, if she leaves, she's going to start thinking what actually she's doing. Like,
Yeah.
she's going to go back home and people are going to tell her, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And clearly my father-in-law wanted me to stay. So he was like, no. We have a plan. You go to work. She can stay the rest of the week in Seattle. She can, hang out. On Friday, I'll pick her up and I'll take her to Blaine, that is just crossing the border.
Yeah.
And you guys can hang out and you can figure it out. I think that you guys haven't had enough time even to sit down and figure out what's the next step. So let's hang, let's chill, and then on Friday you guys can talk. And I was like, yes, another few days to figure out what to tell to my parents.
Oh.
Because I was like, oh my God, I don't want to go back home.
I was like, oh,
Yeah, and I was like-
more days with my future husband. No,
No.
I was like, what do I say
That's
to
what I
my
want to tell
parents?
to my parents. And then my father-in-law picked me up on Friday, and he said, we were like driving back to Blaine, and he went, what if you guys just get married? And I was like, think that should be something that I should talk to your son. He's like, okay, well, let's go to the what is it, like, to the court to see what you guys need. And I got out of that courthouse without marriage license. Like that. I was like, but wait. He was like, it doesn't matter, because if you guys decide to get married, we still like 2 weeks, because you cannot get married right away. Do you know that? You need to wait. If you get a marriage license, at least at the time, I don't know how it is right now, but at the time, they give you the license, and it's I think it's a week and a half or 2 weeks before you can get married.
Okay.
Because a lot of people do that, right? Like, let's go get married. And then they're like, ugh.
Actually,
So the government...
We were drunk.
Exactly. So now there's laws. So I was like, okay. So he left me in the hotel room. He came back to Vancouver. Tony came, and he was like, hey, did you talk to my dad? And I was like, yeah. Did you? And he was like, yeah, what do you think? And I was like, do you actually want to get married? What do you think? Exactly. Like, are you...
What do I think?
Buddy,
Who cares?
I'm Mexican. Do you trust me? I don't know. This is like, should I trust you? I wasn't even thinking, at the time, I don't think that I ever thought anything wrong could happen at all.
No, you were 24, of course.
I was like, yeah, this guy wants to meet me, whatever. I was like, well, what do you think? And he was like, sure. Like, since I met you, since I left Mexico, and since I didn't see you for that long, I know that I want to marry you. And I was like, okay, let's do this. So we decided that we were getting married. It was on November 5th. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a few days ago, because I was talking to him. I was like, today, 14 years ago, we decided to get married. Wow. And then we got married on November 22nd. So our 14-year anniversary is coming.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And yeah. Well, but I didn't think. So, see, another thing, don't do that though. I was really lucky. Like, there's so many stories of girls that disappear. They never come back home. But I think that I just have really good stars, and I had a really big angel, you know, like I have really good friends in heaven that take care of me. And I always feel it. Actually, I always feel it. If it feels good, I do it. And then if I make messes, well, I'll clean them up.
Then I go back to my parents. Calling
to my parents and saying, hey, hi. So I'm not in Canada. I'm in Blaine. What? Close to Seattle, though. But anyways, that's another point. The point is, I'm going to get married on Monday. It was Thursday. And my mom is like, what? With who? With what? And I was like, well, I want to tell you a story. When I went to the trip because I didn't tell it, because that trip has another huge
They're
story
still
inside.
Mourning.
We will need another.
Oh yeah, bring me anytime, because that is like the story even just before, like in the traveling from Toronto by myself, because I went there by myself. I stayed there for 2 weeks by myself in a hostel, like not knowing anybody. I met great people though, but it was a whole story, right? There's so much involved in that. But everything that I did, it felt good at the time.
Right.
But yeah, I called my mom and I was like, so I'm going to get married. And yeah. And my dad was
14
like,
years later.
What does he do? Who is he? How did you find him? And I was like, and it's funny, in Mexico, plumbers, it's not like a status like here in Canada. Like being a plumber is a low status.
Yeah.
My dad was a lawyer, right? And like a fancy one. So when I told him, like, hey, so he's a plumber. Oh my God.
Was like,
yeah.
Where did I fail
as
a woman?
I think that he changed him to like, he told his friends that he was like what was the word? Like he never said that he was a plumber. He was kind of ashamed that he was a plumber. After a while, he was like, he has his own company though. Because it's a status thing, right? But my dad was freaking out, like who? Why? When? Yeah. But talking to my mom after years, like I already apologized. I said, I'm so sorry. Now that I'm a mom of 3 girls. Yeah. First of all, sorry, because I know how were you feeling. I can imagine. Like my girl is marrying somebody that I don't know in another country. What the fuck? Like she just lost She just met him.
She
She
just
just lost
someone,
a really, really important person. Like, I know how much she's hurting and she's getting married again. But they sat together, my dad and my mom, and said, listen, we have to trust that what we did and what we taught her and who she is. And we have to trust. And if anything happened, she needs to know that we're going to be here for her. That's it. That's all we can do.
Oh.
So, yeah, just thinking about it, it gets like a little bit emotional because I'm like, I would never do that. I will just jump in an airplane, grab my time, come home. You don't know what you're doing. Let's go. But the way that they trusted me and how things turned out and how blessed I am, and yeah,
Still with him.
yeah.
Literally,
So,
this is all the stories about Maria.
yeah.
Being brave and do everything
Yeah,
like
just
this.
do it.
Johnny Depp, go here.
In
A
Mexico,
husband in here. Comedy, let's go.
In Mexico, we have a said, nos aventamos como gorda en tobogán. It's like we jump like a fat lady in a water slide, right?
Yeah.
You just go.
No.
Whatever.
Yes,
Somebody was telling me,
ma'am.
that's a bad set because if you're fat, like she's like, I'm fat. I went down a water slide and I got stuck. That's
That's not the point. The point is like she's like that.
Yeah, but I don't, as I said, now that I'm an adult, that I have kids, that I look back, I feel and I think a little bit more before I make decisions. But as I said,
Thank
if they
God.
feel good, yeah, right? Because even after like 3 years ago, I used to just go and do the things. But when you do that, you can hurt a lot of people. I know that I hurt a lot of my friends. Everybody was extremely disappointed because I have really good friends in Mexico that I know that they would love to be in my wedding and met my husband. And I know that I hurt my parents. Like, my mom was devastated, right? Me and my mom, we used to be so close. Like, it's a huge situation. So now, first of all, I look at, okay, how can it be, right? How many people can I hurt, or am I going to hurt somebody? And if there is this slight possibility that somebody that I love might get hurt because of my decisions, I overthink them now, right? But if it's about me and nothing, it's like jumping into this comedy thing, how can I hurt anybody, right? I talk about my stories, like everything that I said up there, it's for real. My husband knows it. My family knows it. My friends know it. So I don't care. I can tell them. And I think that that's a great thing to do too, because I am not the only one, right? You have crazy stories. You have crazy stories. And the more that people see that as, that's comedy, that is what life is. It's a show. This is all a show. So like, enjoy it.
Yeah.
And make the best of what you have of your story for your life. And that's it. Have fun.
So before I wrap, what would you say to everyone about like all this stuff?
All this stuff, be brave. Don't be scared of trying new things. Go for it. Ask yourself what you want to do. Find your passion and do it. Honestly, it sounds so, like people say it all the time, right? Like so cheesy. Like, life is so short. It goes so fast. And one day you're sitting, in high school. Oh my God, I want to be an adult. And another day you're an adult. You're like, oh my God, I want to go back to high school. So enjoy the moment. Be brave. And don't be scared of trying new things. The worst thing that can happen is you'll suck. And then you learn from that. And then you move forward.
And have fun while doing it.
Yeah.
And have a lot of fun while doing it.
Laugh about it. Yeah, always.
So now you met Maria. We're going to put here her Instagram because Chilanga in Vancouver.
Yeah, if you're gonna find me.
Hard.
Yeah, it's Chilanga in Vancouver. That's my podcast and how I'm presenting myself out there in the world with this comedy situation and posting. I have my personal one that is Maria Haslbeck. That's where I talk about coaching too and comedy as well and my stories and my life. You can see my kids there and pictures with Johnny Depp. That's true.
If you're in Vancouver and speak English, it's going to be December 6th in Comedy with an Accent.
Yes, I'm going to be there. We're going to host again.
I'll be there.
Go on, honestly, it is so much fun. It is so much fun to see all these people talking from different parts of the world. That's another podcast that we should do because it's so fantastic what you're doing. It is amazing. And how freaking brave to just be like, I'm going to do this in another country with people without knowing what I'm like.
I'm proud of you.
Yes. Good job.
Oh, thank you so much. So thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
With an accent to listen to Maria's stories. They're super fun stories. So we will have her back.
Yes,
For sure.
thank you. And thank you for inviting me. Honestly, it's weird sometimes because I'm the person that always interviewed people and the one that talks, but this was fantastic. Thank you, and for the opportunity.
It was amazing having you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Canada with an Accent, and don't forget to subscribe.